Good morning. Good to see all of you with us today. I'm glad that we're here instead of post-lunch spot. I hate being the one to send everybody into their siesta. So we'll try to bring you up to date on what's been going on with Commerce Server, talk about some of the things we have going, the plans we have ahead so that everyone can be well informed. My name is Brad Wright. I'm the product unit manager for the product, which means I own the development, testing, production of the product itself for Microsoft. And we wanted to be able to take this opportunity to get everybody informed. So just a little background for those of you who don't know. Commerce Server, the last release was Commerce Server 2002, released at TechEd 2 years ago in April. And since then, we've basically been having service packs and rebs to the Microsoft Solution for Internet Business, MSIB, which I'll go into a little bit detail here in a moment. The service packs, mostly just hotfix roll-ups. We've also had some platform additions as well, support for Windows 2003, support for Windows XP, some other additions in those service packs. But we've also been listening to you folks and all of our customers worldwide and getting feedback on various things. Mainly around our business UIs, the difficulty in using them, performance and scale issues there, lack of line of business connectivity. People would say, hey, great, I've got my commerce site up and running, but I've got to talk to these other systems, and that's kind of hard for me. Those of you that were deploying commerce solutions and going to the second and third generation of your work were saying, you know, the marketing and merchandising stuff was great, but I need the next level of features to be able to accomplish my business needs. And then once up and running, say, hey, some of this IT stuff, the ability to run this thing on a daily basis, to deploy on a daily basis is kind of difficult. Right? So, and we know we've been a little dark in our communication in the past, but that's going to change now. Many of you might have seen some of the press releases the last couple weeks, but I'll give you even more details here today, and then we'll have time for some questions. Now, I did mention MSIB, what we call MSIB, which is Microsoft Solution for Internet Business. What that is a performance and deployment tested starter site based on ASP.NET and a lot of prescriptive guidance around deployment, operations, etc. Version 2.0 and 2.1 have been available for a while now, basically bringing together Commerce Server 2002, CMS 2002, some of the SPS 2000 search features, and deployment guidance around BTS 2002. Maybe we can get rid of that little whistle. And then end-to-end prescriptive guidance. Now, 2.5 was released just a few weeks ago, supports Windows 2003, and upgrades the search capability and adds in management packs for both Commerce Server and Content Management Server. And we'll talk a little bit more about where we're going with this technology and this discipline in deployment and documentation shortly. But here to announce both Commerce Server Feature Pack 1 and to lay out the Commerce Server roadmap for you, giving you an idea what to expect in the future and when to expect it. Basic roadmap is this. Last Monday we released Feature Pack 1. Now Feature Pack 1 is a free download to all Commerce Server 2002 customers. We tried to tackle some major pain points for customers to remove some roadblocks to operations and business management of the product. And we'll be drilling into each of those features here today along with some cool demos to show you what can be done and how we've advanced that. By very early 2006, we're going to have a major new version of Commerce Server focused around the themes connected commerce, your satisfaction, and the ability for you to run your businesses, and then the Windows Server System themes. And I'll go into detail on those features as well. But to start with, let's drill into Feature Pack 1 so I can give you an idea of what's available to you today that'll make life considerably easier. The base top-level feature list is right here. We've taken two major sections of the business desk, the catalog management area and the discount management area. We've removed them from the old business desk, which was an ASP-based application that many might be familiar with, and created brand new applications based on WinForms around those areas. I'll be showing you the architecture. You'll be able to see a demo of the functionality. And we've really focused around usability and scale and performance with these applications. These two are the most used sections of the business desk. In fact, some businesses run with a team of people who spend their entire day doing nothing but catalog management. That's their job day to day. Staging support. Now with Feature Pack 1, we've given you the ability to actually be able to stage your environment from one step to another, as many hops as you need in order to do your QA and your business validation, etc., before you go live with that. Before, that was a very difficult thing, very time-intensive thing. Catalog sequencing. This is something that people have been asking for a while, that we found an easy way to implement in Feature Pack 1 for you. It allows you to arbitrarily order items within the catalog so that you can control how they display out into your site in any manner, in any way, shape, or form. And then coupons, promotion codes, the ability to hand out both unique and arbitrary coupons to people. So let's drill in a little bit. Let's talk about staging first. Now, staging is based, in this case, around Application Center 2000. We use that infrastructure. It was available. Many of our customers, we found in doing research, already had Application Center, so it was reasonable for us to make drivers for that. We built 5 specific drivers: catalogs, discounts, profiles, site config, and then just generic SQL. That latter allows you to replicate various business data that you may have defined separately that's tied to your site. And we, of course, support both full and incremental in these environments. Now, this also revises the standard deployment architecture from MSIB. Now, as I said earlier, the Microsoft Solution for Internet Business lays out defined topologies, defined deployments. Well, with the advent of having staging in there, now you have many more options. And so we'll walk through a few of those changes as well. So if we look at a basic staging architecture, this is now how you could lay out a Commerce Server environment. You've got your cluster controllers for Application Center, the large blue boxes in each area. In this case, you could think of this being a site that is already developed in production. You have a data entry tier where, say, your business managers work against that on the left side of the screen, doing catalog manipulation, campaign manipulation, pricing changes, all sorts of business changes to the site. In this environment, they'd make the changes, you'd replicate it into a test environment and verify it. Or you could even change this from data entry /test to production, and thus do your data entry testing in one area, replication into a production area as well. And you can control, say, for instance, which campaigns you roll out with which catalog versions you roll out, thus allowing you to control campaigns completely across the various sections of the product. If we step up a level, we can see that here we have moved to not only multiple levels of replication, but even separations of tier between web data and business data, so that you can control your replication, say, across the top 3 boxes from entry to test to production of the website of the environment. Say you're making site look and feel changes. And then on the bottom row across, your biz logic changes, catalog changes, campaign changes. All these can be independent or synchronized using these staging drivers. And at the bottom, of course, the various data stores. So what we have is, I'd like to walk you through here with Ryan Donovan, lead PM of Commerce Server, and he's going to walk you through a demo of the staging in action. So let's see if we can get this switched over. There
Great. Thanks, Brad. Well, first of all, what I'd like to do is show you the target environment where we want to ultimately stage data in. As you can see, a little preview of our business desk replacement here. We are in an environment that has absolutely no catalogs deployed in it whatsoever. So to demonstrate staging, I'm going to flip over to my other server, which is running with virtual server here, and actually walk you through the process of exactly how easy it is to stage data using Application Center. Because we're integrated natively within the Application Center management tool, all we have to do is define a new application for staging within Application Center itself. So we'll call this Test Staging for TechEd, and go ahead and just create a new application in Application Center. Now you'll notice when you've installed Feature Pack 1 over an existing installation of Application Center, all of the Commerce Server resource types now become actually available within Application Center natively. This is hence the Application Center drivers. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and choose the product catalog as the resource that we would like to stage, and go ahead and choose Add. Application Center will now natively enumerate all of the sites I have installed, and I can go through, choose a catalog, and then choose how I want to stage it. In this case, I can choose either full, incremental, or selected categories and products. Because there's no catalog in our target environment, I'm going to go ahead and choose to add the full catalog. At this point, it will add what I've chosen to the staging manifest, and I can easily go back and choose other Commerce Server data types, such as selected campaigns, etc., to go ahead and stage from one environment to the next. Once I've created my manifest, all I have to do is choose a new deployment within Application Center. What I'll do is choose to move content from one cluster to the next, since we are a cluster controller-based architecture, to move from one environment to the next. I will go ahead and enter my security credentials. And the nice thing about this feature as I do this is that if my environments are in disconnected environments with no domain trust relationships, I can easily, through the mechanisms integrated into Application Center, move data between domains that have no trust relationships whatsoever by simply supplying my own security credentials as part of the staging process. So I'll go ahead and choose my target machine and add that to the list. Go ahead and choose Next. Now I get to choose which application I would like to deploy. So I'll choose the application I just created, the test staging for TechEd. Given that I'm moving data types only, having file and folder permissions replicated is a redundant choice, so I can unselect that. And I'll go ahead and choose Finish. At this point, the staging job has actually begun to execute, so if I move over into my synchronizations, we can see the staging process beginning to occur. Right now, it's in the transferring data stage. What's happening while we're waiting is it's automatically creating the authenticated network connections through the firewall. It's going ahead and performing catalog export, then it's going ahead and importing the catalog into the target solution and going ahead and creating all the database indices and other associated elements that go with creating a new catalog from scratch. Obviously, had I chosen one of the other staging mechanisms, such as an incremental, in this case it would have gone ahead and done a full import, or if there was already an existing catalog, it would have gone ahead and just moved only the data that had changed since the last time the staging process had been executed. Okay, we've gone ahead and seen that the staging itself has succeeded, so let's go ahead and flip back to our other system. And if we go back and choose Refresh, we'll see that the catalog has, in fact, made it from the source to the destination, and all of the data included is now present and able to be managed in the production environment. So there, at this point, I'll switch you back to Brad to talk a little bit more about our new business user experience story.
Thanks, Fran. So obviously, we show a very simple example, but if we go back to, say, this environment, and then overlay the thinking of catalog and campaigns and basic SQL data, you can see how you can set up a very complex system if you need to for your business to control the rollout of products and campaigns and other data across your site. You can even as well script that within Application Center into the various definitions such that you can allow for simultaneous rollout of such business campaigns. Say, for instance, you have a new line of product coming out and you want certain discounts applied and certain promotions to happen at the same time. You can now validate that all at once, say in the middle layer, before rolling it into production at the business needs. But earlier, well, let's keep going forward, shall we? Earlier I'd mentioned that MSIB, Microsoft Solution for Internet Business, defined and architected base deployments. This is one of them, as defined within the prescriptive guidance for MSIB. You can see how everything's designed for you to provide a certain level of performance. With the advent of the staging drivers within Feature Pack 1, we can now extend that deployment out to be considerably more complex while giving you the control you need and the protection you need from people actually manipulating your site. These are the sort of controls that allow you to keep from rolling out a discount that gives product away at 50 cents when it should be $200. Right? You can validate these things within your staged environment. What about the business UIs? Who here is familiar with Business Desk? Okay. Of those that raised your hand, who's happy with it? Unanimous. I love unanimous votes. Well, neither were we terribly. We had considered for many times, how do we replace this? And in actuality, the business desk is a huge piece of code. It's about 870,000 lines of code to do all the data manipulation and validation that needs to happen. So it's not just like, let's just rewrite it, take a week and do it. In order to do it properly, it takes time. And so we considered many times, how do we do this? And then what's the right architecture to do? We knew what the goals needed to be, right? It needed to be very usable because we're dealing with business managers. We're not dealing with highly technical people that can deal with the high hurdles that sometimes come in a technical environment. It had to be really usable. And it had to perform at a much higher level than it did today. So we knew what those goals were, and we looked for opportunities. How could we replace it? In the Commerce Server 2002, we didn't have the time. There were other things that had to happen in order to take the product to the scale that it is now from a runtime perspective. And we succeeded in many of those goals. But now we've had the opportunity to rebuild these, re-architect the business user applications. And as you can see from what I listed earlier, we chose to do two main sections of the business desk: catalog and discounts. Now, we could have waited and kept going and replaced the whole thing, but we felt that people wanted these things sooner rather than later. Thus, the push and the release of Feature Pack 1. And we hope that by replacing the lion's share of heavy use sections of Business Desk, we can give all of you some relief, right, from having to deal with your business managers on a day-to-day about why is this so painful? Why are you hurting me like this, right? So we're going to show you today the advances we made. Just some top-line items. We have improved the usability overall. Have we gotten 100% there yet? No. But we wanted to get these out right away for you. We think we've made significant gains in usability. We hope you'll agree. We want you to download Feature Pack 1 and check it out. And if you don't agree that it's cleared a major hurdle, we'd love to hear about it. But we think we've made some significant gains there. Runtime performance, I know we've made significant gains. Just for some data points for you. Previous business desk, running one user against one server. Operation X, and we have the whole list of them, but I'm just going to pick one. Operation X took 7 seconds to complete. With the new business UIs, that same operation took 1.4 seconds. However, it was with 75 concurrent users against one server. So not only is it almost a 7x improvement in speed, you increase the scale 75 times at the same time. So a mammoth increase in performance, and this is across the board. We tested every function possible, and we did baselines against the existing BizDesk, against our new ones. We did one-to-one, one user, and then 1 and 75 users. And we never did get to the upper limit of concurrency. We kept going, but we got to a certain point where we said, hey, that's an awful high number. If we keep going, we could be here all day. So we better get the thing out the door. We felt that a 75 increase in concurrency was a good start for a feature pack. And so we think it'll hit the majority of people's needs. The highest we've ever seen, I think, is 80 that a customer need. The highest customer feedback we ever got, just conferring with Ryan here, was that they needed 80 concurrent catalog managers at once. And now we feel comfortable saying you can have one server to support that. Versus before, you couldn't even forget to get close. I mean, you maybe get 5 concurrent users banging away at catalog and business desk. So tremendous concurrency, scalability, good runtime performance. Those are numbers I can prove. We need to hear from you on usability. We've done the studies. It looks good, but the real test is what do you folks say when you get your hands on it? We've also gone to a new architecture. This is a WinForms application. It's not a purely server-based application. And we've created APIs at both the server and the client side for data manipulation. And I'll talk on that in a little bit. We'll go look at the architecture, and then I'll talk about how you can make use of those. So the two main areas, as I said, is Catalog Manager, which completely replaces the catalog editor functions of BizDesk, and Discount Manager, which takes part of Campaign Manager. And I'll talk about why we did that in a second. Here we are. So here's the basic architecture. On the back-end server side, you've got your Commerce Server databases. You also have the Commerce Server 2002 APIs, which have been there for a while, completely .NET compatible ever since release. On top of that, we've added web services that are not just straight ported web services. For instance, you can sit down and take any .NET capable API and say, make a web service, right? And it happens pretty quickly. What we've done in our web service is actually layered intelligence into that. So it's a much more involved development process to abstract away certain operations within that service. Over on the client side, this left-hand side, we have an agent layer, a set of APIs on the agent side that, again, abstracts more operations away, handles more of the data transfer back and forth. And then, of course, the UI is on top of that. And now I'll invite Ryan back up, and he's going to walk through the look and feel of those applications and some of the advances we've made.
Thanks, Brad. I will switch back to my virtual server environment here and go back to the main server here. We'll start with Catalog Manager. As Brad mentioned, our goal was to provide a rich client interface. Our usability study showed that at the end of the day, a browser-based UI was simply not going to deliver the level of productivity that was required by our larger customers or deliver the most quality user experience possible. So as Brad noted, we've gone to the WinForms-based user experience. From a UI design perspective, our focus was on making this look and feel like something that business users were probably actually familiar with, which is Windows Explorer itself. So we've now taken the Windows Explorer paradigm and applied it to Commerce Server. So we've got, for example, task panes, context-sensitive information and help, a navigatable tree view control. We'll wait for the web service to fire up here. We've got, on the right-hand side, we've got the actual individual products. We've got a preview pane so we can list like an Outlook so we can see what's going on. As you note, the task view is entirely context sensitive. The other key thing we've done is for actually performing tasks is we've gone to a wizard paradigm. So for an example, let's go ahead and see what it would be like to create a new catalog. The reason we've gone to a wizard paradigm is after a lot of usability research, we determined that the wizard was actually the most productive means to go. If you're a power user, this is something that can be tabbed through and navigated with the keyboard very quickly and not have to have you go through all the multiple myriad of dialogues and clicks that were required to perform tasks in the business desk. If you're a novice user, the benefit of a wizard is it's going to keep you from hurting yourself in a bad way because it's going to guide you through and establish validation on the input parameters to keep you from doing something you really should probably not consider doing. So as an example, let's go ahead and walk through creating a catalog. So you can see we automatically flag required input fields. We've got all the different things. We've got actual context-sensitive help that tells you exactly what the screen does. You would not believe how much this was a requested feature in Business Desk by the end user, and it was never there. Now it works just like any Windows application. I'll go ahead and pick my product unique ID and continue. The multilingual support is completely here, so we can automatically, let's assume, for example, that I am based in Quebec and need both French and Canadian English. I can go ahead and choose these languages. So English, Canada. We'll choose French, Canada as well. There we go. And because I'm based in Montreal, I may want my default language to be French, Canada, but I know that my principal customer constituent is in the United States, so I'll go ahead and leave that as the default language. At this point, it will give me a summary of everything I have done, and I can go ahead and hit create, and it will go ahead and create my catalog for me. Now, to look at some navigating within the catalog, what we've done is now gone to tab dialogues for our editing screen paradigm. So all of the, again, we're being consistent with the UI, all of the required elements are intact. All of our custom properties are automatically show up. It is language sensitive, so for example, it's very easy to switch between languages. You can see switching from French to German to Japanese, which I don't have the Japanese character set installed, so I can't see the kanji and kana there, but you get that general idea. The categories are all there. It's very easy to add relationships if you want to do cross-selling, things like that. So for example, I have picked a crampon. I might want to choose, a carabiner. So we've now picked, very similar Windows search dialogues. I'll go ahead and choose that and go ahead and save and exit. So you can see, it caught that I did not fill out something properly. And it also validates all the data, which is another feature that users requested. For example, in Business Desk, had I done what I just did, I would have corrupt data in my catalog. Now I can't shoot myself in the foot. So that's an example of what the catalog looks like. Just some other, interesting UI paradigms. It's very easy to scroll back and forth if you have large numbers of products. We are right-clicked enabled, so you can choose common tasks, and that is sensitive for context sensitive. So you'll note that as I move from one part of the screen to the next, it actually picks up the right level of categories and such. So as you can see, this is a huge quantum leap in improvement over what was in Business Desk previously. What we've also done is carried this paradigm over to the discount manager. As you can see, the UI looks quite similar. So unlike the Business Desk, where every single module was completely different in terms of how it looked and functioned, if you know how to use one, you're going to pretty much know how to use the others with our new Business UI story. And again, we've also gone ahead and created and made the process wizard-based for very complex tasks similar as well. So let's walk through the process of creating a new campaign. We'll wait for it to fire up the web service here in the background. I will go ahead and enter my campaign name, set this for a default period of 1 month, and go ahead and create that. Now that I've gone in there and created a test campaign, I can go ahead and right-click and say create a new discount within that campaign. And now I'll choose the campaign. We'll call this test discount. And now you'll see where the real usability improvements are coming into play. In the Business Desk, if you wanted to create a discount, we gave you no guidance as to what anything did. So users were creating discounts that they had no idea what they were creating. Now you'll see that we're actually providing real context-sensitive help. So for each discount type that's available in Commerce Server, we're actually giving you examples of what it looks like. So in this case, I'll pick an order level discount, which is example, buy at least $500 for the services, get 20% off. In this case, I'll say buy a minimum of $50. I'll go ahead and say, let's go ahead and give them an amount off, say $10 off. It will allow me to pick whether I want that to apply to the order or to the shipping cost. So this is, in fact, in some cases, exposing UI elements in terms of discount configuration and granularity that you could not even get to in Business Desk. For example, applying the discount to the shipping cost was a very difficult, tricky thing to do in BizDesk. Now you can also see that our expression creation UI is much more powerful than it used to be. So for example, if I want to say MSN subscribers only, it's a much easier user interface where I can actually pick from all of the data exposed through my user profile. I'll say contains msn.com. If I wanted to create new expressions, I could also, for example, say evening hours only and create a compound expression where, for example, our current time is, is on or after 6 p.m. Say 6. We'll say 6 p.m. for example. And we'll say, or, at or before, current time is at or before 6 a.m. And now we've just created a more complex compound expression, and then I can choose these for my eligibility requirements. And there's the process of actually creating a new discount end to end. What I just did, had I been in Business Desk, we actually measured it, would have been about 110 clicks to do what I just did in about 2 minutes. So you can see it's now substantially better. As Brad mentioned, we're anywhere from about 200+% more performant in general. We're also, on average, about 5 to 8 times faster in terms of general productivity, in terms of the number of steps required to move from one, to actually perform tasks from beginning to completion. So at this point, I'll switch you back to Brad you can see more about what our product roadmap is going to be looking like.
Thanks, Ryan, for showing off those UIs. As you can see, we're fairly excited about the progress here. We get these two UIs out to everybody, and we'll be able to feed back in what we hear from everyone over the usage of in the coming months into our designs for advancing these, as well as doing other ones to remove the last of Business Desk. But what about customization? In Business Desk, you wanted to customize it, you opened it up in an editor, started making changes. The problem is, that gave you a lot of flexibility, but it didn't allow us to support you. How could I roll out a major fix to the Business Desk previously? I couldn't, because it would break your customizations. Or there were certain things you just didn't want to broadcast out. Hey, you need to go fix this, right? It's risky for your business. So in the new UIs, the way we're distributing these is as binary applications. You get an installer that you run on your client machines. They're executables. That way I can roll out fixes. But what about customizations? We are going to have a partner SDK. In fact, it's available now for Feature Pack 1. The partner SDK will allow you to edit the UI code and allow us to support you using the agent APIs in that code to extend it. But then the partners would still bundle that up and hand only a binary to the customer. They would support those modified ones. We'd support them on the API usage. And if the customer is using the shipped exe, we can still support them with hotfixes, etc. Now, obviously, this is a new type of arrangement to have, and we'll probably have to have some tweaking over it to accommodate various customers, say those with large development staffs who say, hey, I need to make the modifications myself. So we'll be looking at those things as we talk to customers about it. But we do believe this gives us a much better opportunity to support you in your business, to give you the upgrades and hotfixes you need without compromising your business, but still gives you the flexibility to customize things. And it gives the partners the ability to customize the applications for specific business needs for subsets of customers. So up on Microsoft.com Commerce Server, you can find both FP1, you can find the partner SDK, and more detail about the product itself. Ryan talked about discounting a little bit. One of the added features we have in Feature Pack 1 is some enhancements to discounting besides just the new UI. This did require, however, that we ended up with a separate marketing resource. We end up now with the existing campaign ones that existed in Commerce Server 2002 and this new one. They work side by side. At this point with Feature Pack 1, you can't necessarily combine, say, an ads campaign with one of these discounts in the new resource. We're going to work on fixing that in the future, but we felt it was important to get the ability for people to use coupons out in the market. It's something, a lot of demand, both unique and generic, as well as the ability to track those so that you can send out a campaign where you have a unique ID to every customer and they can use that to get a discount, or a generic one that goes out where they can share it with their friends, but it can be used X number of times or once. So those features are now in Feature Pack 1. It is .NET only. As we're heading forward, that is going to be the default. .NET support is the base for us going forward as COM ages out. And like I said, we will be fixing the multiple resource issue as well. So Feature Pack 1 as a whole, new catalog UI, new discount UI, staging drivers, new coupons, and then the catalog sequencing that I talked about earlier, allowing you to order your products. We think it's a powerful addition, should help you to advance your businesses now. You can download it today, and it's actively supported. It's free for you to upgrade with, and it's a painless upgrade as well. But then the question is, where do we go next? And what happens to Commerce Server? As I said in the beginning, you guys haven't heard much from us. We've been kind of quiet since our launch, right, other than some service packs. Well, today I'm going to lay out what the future looks like. And in that regard, we have the next version of Commerce Server coming out. And this is because commerce is really a key scenario for Microsoft. It's one that's very important. It is one that is becoming more and more commoditized around the industry. And in the Microsoft Windows Server system, it's something we need to satisfy for customers, and thus we continue to need to advance it. Thus, the reason we're here today talking to you. So we're working on a major rev. We're focusing around 3 key themes: connected commerce, the Windows Server system, which is more than just a brand name. It is actually a way we are building server software now, and a way we are making them work better together. And then customer satisfaction and supportability. Some of the steps we've taken in Feature Pack 1, we want to expand across the product to fix the pain points and to make you folks be able to support your businesses better, us be able to help you as well, and to support you in your endeavors. So let's drill into each of those. Connected commerce. What do I mean, connected commerce? Connected commerce can mean a variety of things. One thing that comes to mind immediately, and the first bullet on the item, is tie my front-end commerce systems into my ERP systems, into my inventory systems, into my other line of business systems I have. Right? We're going to provide that in the next version of Commerce Server. We're going to give you advanced BizTalk adapters that will allow you to move that data in and out of the front commerce system. Now that allows you to do line of business connectivity, but what else does connected commerce mean? Connected commerce means also talking out from your business to your customers. So those same adapters give you the ability to do that, enhancing the ability for you to control the information you can provide regarding, say, orders and other data out to your customers. Order status, order management features out to those customers. Connected commerce is also connected to your various business units. What about the ability for your customer service reps to actually know what's happening with an order in relatively real time, thus providing service to your customers? That's also connected commerce. We're going to enable these through these BizTalk adapters. We're going to enable it through a new orders system that allows you to provide customer service, order management, order status integration. We're going to provide an inventory subsystem so you can actually sell what you have instead of selling what you don't. Right? And with those adapters that tie into those line of business systems, we understand that you have systems that are system of record that are not commerce. And that's fine. We will provide connectivity to that. What about the Windows Server system? You guys have all heard the brand name, right? All heard it touted. But what does that mean from a technology perspective? What that means from a technology perspective is certain standards and consistency across the product, certain integration across the product. In the next version of Commerce Server, we're going to, along with the many other versions of Microsoft products, adhere to certain standards that are being defined as what that Windows Server system means. First and foremost, native 64-bit support. Today you say, well, why? But the growth we're seeing in x64-based machines is phenomenal. Over the next couple of years, it's going to head toward being the default. We want to be there and be ready for you. Even if you're not rapidly replacing machines, in a few years you will be. We've got to be able to support that. IPv6. Again, not something we have rolled out here today, but something that's on its way. We're going to be prepared for that so that we're ready when you're ready. The .NET framework, WIDBE. In other words, has everybody heard the code names WIDBE and Yukon? Yes? Okay, WIDBE, next version of the .NET framework, right, past 1.1. And Yukon, next version of SQL Server. We're going to be ready to run on those environments. In fact, we're going to take advantage of a lot of the WIDBE technologies to further advance Commerce Server. It's a big tie-in for us, obviously. And then one area that we could never really fix with a service pack or anything else, setup and security configuration. Who's had the joy of attempting to follow the secure deployment guide for Commerce Server? It's thorough. We can say that, but it's a lot of work, and we realize that. And we realize that because every test pass, we go through the whole thing. We deploy the whole thing just like you would, and then we bang and test against it, and then we revise it again and do it again, making it as secure and as tight as we can. But each time you do that, it becomes more and more complicated. It's painful. We know that. We want to give you a most secure environment we can, and today we've been trying to, with the secure deployment guide, it's been pretty successful. However, it's not easy. So in the next version of Commerce Server, we're really going to focus around new concepts behind setup and configuration. The goal, and I've challenged my team to this, we'll see how close we get because it's a lot of work, but the challenge I've given them is find to sit down, be able to tell the system what I want my environment to look like, right, as far as a deployment, taking into account both production and staging and everything else, and then make the setup of each one of those machines exceptionally simple, including both validation of the platform and deployment of the bits. And at the end, walk me through a wizard that secures the whole thing. The goal should be you have a few pages to read for setup instead of over 100 to do a full secure deployment. We're going to work very hard at getting setup and configuration of the machines very simple for you. Because we know that this is where you spend a lot of your time. The reason we know? Because that's where you call PSS the most to talk to us. We'd rather have you calling about advanced configuration options of a 10-layer discount. And that'd be my preferred call to get, right? Rather than saying, hey, I'm having trouble configuring the thing. Right? So this is an area of focus. Like I said, I'm challenging the team heavily around it. Earlier I mentioned the time frame being by early 06, and I mean real early 06. So we've got time to do the work. We just need to make sure we make it as fluid and easy as possible. My vice president, every time I meet with him, every time we do a product review with him, he is the subject of usability comes up. Now, Ted is new running our division. He's a 15-year veteran at Microsoft, but he's new to running the e-business division. But he is hugely focused on usability. So not only am I challenging the team, but we've got good support throughout the division to bring more usability, easier setup, easier config to our products. Pardon me, my voice is starting to go. Now, what about the customer sat and supportability? Well, obviously the business UIs from our earlier poll are a big issue for customer satisfaction. You can see we've touched two areas. In the next version of Commerce Server, they will all be replaced, and there will be new additions. So we'll continue to revise that catalog manager you just saw. We will take that discount manager and expand it to be the complete marketing manager, all in the new UI architecture. We're going to roll our reporting over to be based on the SQL reporting services. So all the analytics reports will show up in the new reporting services, which get all the new features there as well, customizing reports, emailing reports, etc. We're also adding a customer order admin UI. So you can do administration features on orders, as well as customer service relating to orders, and certain levels of order management. We're also going to update the virtual catalog. Now, virtual catalog was introduced in Commerce Server 2002. Really good idea. However, in execution, it gave you certain functionality, but at certain cost. And we've observed the way people are using it, and it didn't quite hit the mark completely. So we're going to update it to fill in the needs that we've discovered from people's use of the 2002 virtual catalog feature. And we're going to continue to integrate well with Visual Studio. This is something we've done in the past. We're going to continue it. For those that you haven't sat down and developed in Commerce Server, today you can sit down in Visual Studio and just go new commerce project, creates all the connections, all the databases, puts in all sorts of tools. We're going to continue that evolution in the Whidbey Visual Studio. And we're going to enhance the marketing and merchandising features. As I said earlier at the beginning of the talk, people liked what we had done, but as they advance down their business, they get their site solidified, and they advance down their business, they say, hey, we need feature X, Y, Z. We're going to be looking at those in priority order and get many of them handled. Now, some other facts. Portal integration will stay the same as it is today until Microsoft's Portal Technologies Rev. When that happens, we will increase our integration as well there. Authentication profiles. Again, something that for now is going to stay the same until further rationalization can occur across the company on those. certain features there in Commerce Server that have not gotten any or much use, we're going to roll out of the product so we can spend more time on the areas that you folks are using. Predictor is one, certain catalog APIs that are no longer used. And List Manager, when you look at List Manager, you say, you know, at the time it was great, it was really needed, but today you go, well, why don't I use Excel or Access for that? I mean, that's what I use to manage lists every day. When I have a list, I bring it up in one of those tools. So these are things that will allow us to focus our energies on the higher priority items. Also, I mentioned MSIB earlier. We understand the value of a production starter site for you. We understand the need that you have to have something to start from that you can trust has been tested well and that you can count on to perform. Because it's tricky building a highly performant, scalable site. Not everyone has the skills or knowledge to sit down and do it from scratch. Right? Building a basic site, yeah, you can do that easily enough, but one that's going to scale up largely, that's difficult. We want to give you a leg up. So we're going to take the MSIB methodology, site, continue to advance it with the next version of Commerce Server so you have a place to start. However, we're going to change a few things to make it easier for you. One of the things today with MSIB is you have to buy a bunch of products to make use of that site. We're going to remove the hard product requirements there so you can use the products from Microsoft you need but still have a site to start from. And we're going to increase the BizTalk integration, the adapters I talked about earlier. So in closing, we're still very serious about commerce. I wouldn't be here today and I wouldn't be working so hard with the great team of people I have up in Redmond if this wasn't the case. Commerce Server is alive and well and will continue on. We have great plans, both the ones I've talked about here and others as well. FP1's available now. Download it. Take a look at it. Send us your feedback. You can roll it right out into your systems. We've had customers during our early adopter program that took them just a few days to roll it out into production and put the tools right in their business manager's hands. And we'll have the next version of Commerce Server coming up very early in 06. We'll have programs in 05 that you can get involved in as far as betas, and we want to be able to involve as many people as we can. We're also going to have more case studies rolling out in the coming months so you can see how some other customers are using Commerce Server now, how they are replacing other technologies with Commerce Server to a great savings in both money, return on investment, and also time. And we're really going to renew our focus on our partner community because they're the ones that are mostly involved with the customers. So we feel if we give them the support, then you benefit as well. Evaluation, love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how well or not so well I did today, and Ryan as well. I want to encourage everyone at the next session, 1:45, 1:30. We've got Ryan's doing a session on how do I build highly performant commerce environments and tune them. I encourage you, if you're working with Commerce Server and all, come hear this part because it'll help you make your business run that much smoother and your site that much more performant. Community resources, we do have regular webcasts on Commerce Server. A good chunk of my team is up there to answer your question every month. Feel free to get on to those chat sessions in our community environment. And I thank everyone for coming today. Appreciated your time. We can take questions if anyone has any. Feel free to answer them now, or you can grab Ryan and I after the session, and we'll be free to chat with you. Questions? Yes, sir.
I have a question regarding BCL.
Mm-hmm.
Now, BCL basically was, I don't know, like 30-40% of job getting faster than the rest of them are like Interon. So, is there any plan to basically have the partner happen solve faster?
In the Commerce Server. Oh, go ahead.
Actually,
Ryan.
I'll take this one. The question is, what do we do with the areas that are not covered by the BCLs today? The answer is that right now the BCLs are focused on providing runtime, query-only data access, and you still have to hit the PIAs or the COM components for data management for the areas of the product that we actually had them. There are other areas of the product, such as the marketing area, that had no data management APIs whatsoever. What we're going to be doing with the next version is have a consistent implementation of the agent APIs for data management across the entire product, and those will be native.NET. The agent will be able to run in the next version in one of two modes. The first mode is through the web service as it exists today. There will also be a database-only mode that will talk directly to the databases that does not require the web service to go through for data management. So all data management functions will be exposed through the agent APIs in the next version.
Anyone else?
Which admin you are you referring to, the MMC?
No, sorry, in the future thing, like order processing, like UI and order processing.
That'll again be the same architecture we showed you
Yeah.
today with agent web service
All
architecture.
of our business UIs will be the .NET WinForms web service with the exception of the analytics, which will be through the SQL reporting services portal interface.
And specific on the order admin, that will be there's a WinForms app on top of agent API. If it exists today in the MMC, it will likely stay in the MMC for today. Yes, back there.
What's going to happen to the pipelines? Will there be a migration done?
Right now, the current plan of record is to keep pipelines much the same as they are. We'll be shifting our SDK focus to using managed code for the pipelines, just to gain the debugging enhancements that you can get there. We're working on a long-term pipeline replacement strategy, but we are not sure what the timing of that introduction will be yet, since given the number of dependencies both our partners and customers have in that infrastructure, we want to make sure that it's a very baked story before we introduce it. So the official plan of record as it exists today is that there won't be any changes other than a focus on developing from an SDK perspective in managed code versus ATL, C++, or VB6 as it is today.
But I do want to comment on the migration part of that question, just in general. We're strongly committed to upgrade and migration. For those of you that went from 2000 to 2002, for the almost all customers, that was an in-place upgrade with one line of code change, right? Barring any platform issues underneath, but the commerce code itself. We're committed to maintaining that or better. In areas where we're making wholesale changes to bring other functionality, such as orders, obviously it's not going to be a simple upgrade in place. So what we are going to do is provide ways for you to easily migrate that, and we will provide as many tools as possible. I am personally very, very committed to making a migration upgrade as seamless as possible. I've been at Microsoft a long time. In the past, I've made some mistakes in this area, and I've lived through them, and the scars are still here, and I'm never going to do it again. So we're very committed to that. Certain areas such as orders, we've got to go, okay, well, we have to make some breaking changes here. How do we lower that pain for our customers to the absolute bottom level? And if that means, tools and neat little wizards to walk through or other things, we're going to do it to make sure that happens. So, other questions? So was one here in the middle?
The question is which security models this new catalog manager supports. What we are supporting is the Windows Authorization Manager, aka AZMan, for our authorization story for the new security thing. So it's no longer a proprietary architecture like it was in Business Desk. It's now exactly what Windows is saying. This is our prescriptive means of supporting authorization. With that, from an authentication perspective, we're supporting either the Windows integrated security on the web service or basic plus SSL encryption on the web service. We actually do by design throw an exception if you try to run it unencrypted with basic, because that's a major security flaw.
Some others? Yes, sir.
Just one quick question on that too. Is there roles that you do in the catalog manager, such as give one person access to the legal product and another person not be able to?
Yes, the answer is yes, you can. We do support customizing and extending the granularity of the security within AZMan. You can do that through the partner SDK by defining new roles and then a granularity associated with those roles and putting the checks in the UI. You can actually get quite granular by default. We give you, pretty much either, no access, read access, search access, or, actual edit access or full admin access is a general rule, but you can certainly customize that to provide additional granularity if needed.
A couple other questions real quick. The coupons, adding coupons, is that also in the discount UI?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yes, it is. Okay. Last question is, how many
The catalog, well, the catalog itself can handle up to 5 million products. We have tested a 5 million product catalog in the UI, and the performance is still usable.
The one thing I do want to comment on is that the performance of large catalogs is going to be, for the most part, unless you're doing something like rebuilding an index on it, it's going to be much the same as it is with a small catalog. In Business Desk, what we did is automatically fetched everything, so you would see exponential performance degradation directly proportional to the size of the amount of data you're measuring. What we're doing now is we're actually doing paging and caching, where we're getting, for example, 300 records at a time, but only displaying 100 on screen, but the previous 100 and next 100 are cached out there for you. If you let it sit too long, it will of course refresh that. But you're not going to see those types of performance degradation within the new UIs that were observed in BizDesk, given the architectural changes have been made. Yes.
One of the things I have found working with these before is like the difficulty connecting between the back office systems information and the commerce side itself. If you have, let's say you have different discount levels set up in the back office system or pricing for your items and all that stuff, would that be handled like using those PDX components that you were mentioning automatically?
Absolutely, and then you could put whatever logic and workflow you needed on them when you define the orchestration schedule between our adapter and then the back-end system. The design point and goal is that if you have a BizTalk connected line of business system, there'll be no coding required to make it talk to Commerce Server. You're only going to have to go in and set up the orchestration schedule and then any data mappings that may be needed, and that's all something that can be done within the BizTalk UI.
Sir.
Yes, the question is what updates will be happening to the virtual catalog? And the answer is, first of all, we're making a concerted effort at fixing the performance. For example, we've already addressed a lot of the rebuild performance issues in Feature Pack 1. So what used to take about 8 hours for a large rebuild scenario now takes about 2 minutes, is one point. So we'll be looking at that across the board. From a functionality perspective, the feedback we received was twofold. First was that you can redefine categorization and pricing in the current virtual catalog, but people really wanted that to be able to be extended to redefine any attribute for marketing purposes, such as a spring sale event or other type things. So any attribute can be marked as virtual and have the content of that attribute overwritten in the new virtual catalog. So if you want to override description, change imagery, etc. We wish we could. We really do. That's something that can be done. The other big functional change is the ability to create virtual catalogs on top of virtual catalogs. We had customers asking for the ability to say, take 4 or 5 base catalogs from suppliers, aggregate those into a single catalog for using virtual catalog into a single catalog, and then create additional views on top of that virtual catalog for targeting to specific customer segments. That was not a scenario that can be physically supported in Commerce Server today. We will be able to support that in Commerce Server tomorrow with the major rev of virtual catalog.
And just one thing Ryan touched on that we actually didn't include in the slides because it actually gets deeper into the product, but in Feature Pack 1 we did sneak in quite a few performance modifications to the catalog system that are orders of magnitude better in certain scenarios for virtual catalogs and other such things. Just way in the back.
Is there any support in the next release for initiatives like CNET? Or is that going to fall somewhere in another product?
The answer is the answer is yes. I mean, we're providing UC CNET adapter story already. So with the BizTalk adapter for Commerce Server, it's simply going to be a matter of creating an orchestration schedule with your UC CNET adapter. So that would be a no coding required scenario, something that could be managed entirely within the BizTalk orchestration designer.
Yes, sir. What the specific pieces? Well, the .NET. So the question is what parts of Would-Be are we specifically going to leverage? Obviously, we live very closely with the ASP.NET environment and the .NET framework environment, so we'll leverage those extensively. The IDE, of course, will be integrated into all the flavors of the IDE that they provide. The specifics of How much we do with web parts and et cetera has yet to be completely baked, but we will be severely dependent upon WIDBE.
We'll also be leveraging the 64-bit support in WIDBE. Obviously, that's one of the means to the end of providing native 64-bit support. We'll also be leveraging the revisions to the web data access technologies, so the very latest MDAC and MSXML implementations will also be standardized on the version shipped in WIDBE as well.
Sir.
The web services here that you create in Feature Pack 1, is that publicly available to developers, or is it just for internal use by apps in
So the questions regarding access to the web services interfaces. In Feature Pack 1, we're supporting the agent APIs. So the way to write to those web services would be to have the agent on the client and write to the agent APIs at this point. Right? In the next version of Commerce Server, our current thinking is we would support direct API access to both, but for now we had to limit it. Yes, sir. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
I had a question on your BizTalk support in the future. I wrote down on the slide that BizTalk adapters for orders and inventory catalog. Did you mean, because BizTalk has their own adapters, right? But I think that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about adapters from server to connect to BizTalk.
Correct. So this is about the BizTalk integration with Commerce Server, and that was specifically in the next version of Commerce Server. Today we have a certain level of adapters available in Commerce Server 2002, but you've got to do a lot of work to make use of them. The ones we're going to be doing in the next version of Commerce Server will be baked into the product such that you can exchange orders and order status back and forth into BizTalk. So this is an adapter that lives between the Commerce data access side and BizTalk orchestrations, with other adapters on the other side that talk to whatever your ERP system of choice is, right? Great Plains, Navision, SAP, and the others that you have out there.
Well, legacy hosts is kind of my interest. Like what if we have part of the catalog on some.
And that's fine. You can use the adapter framework from BizTalk and the host integration server to talk to your mainframe to pull the catalog data. Through the orchestration, talk to the catalog BizTalk adapter and goes right into your catalog system. Yeah, that's definitely a scenario we care about. And we're going to bake. So from the runtime to the data access side to the BizTalk adapter to BizTalk, those adapters will be baked into the next version of Commerce Server. You'll be able to make use of them. So if you've got data that falls in those categories that you can get into a BizTalk orchestration, you can shove them into Commerce Server, or vice versa. It was some here, sir.
Will the look at the catalog APIs will look like more content management server one? I mean, more object oriented instead of using data sets.
No, the dataset architecture will be continued. We'll just be using the WIDBE data sets as opposed to the ones that are in .NET Framework 1.1.
But so the question was regarding consistency between content management and catalog API sets. As the content management and portal technologies for Microsoft advance, we will advance as well and deepen our integration with them beyond where they are today. Right? But we need to make sure that we can synchronize with them. Our current release is focused, this next release is focused around deep WIDBE and Yukon work. Right? I'll leave that one hanging there. Yes, sir, next to him.
In Catalog UI, the products are managed through a wizard. We have lots of our customers who prefer to use an Excel spreadsheet type of data entry. Is there any plans to do that, or through the API, could we modify or add a new screen to the UI?
Well, you could definitely make Excel talk to the API. That's been done by several partners. The other option is, I'm sorry, what? Okay. The other option is, of course, an import-export option if you prefer them to use Excel. Well, within the new UI, so in the UIs you can either use the wizard or you can use direct editing capability, right? Rather than walking through a wizard, you can actually go in and edit the properties of any given. Yes, no bulk edit. Mm-hmm.
And then they would all the products right there. And then what we do right now, we use this stock for that.
Okay. So I guess the primary question is around ease of bulk editing. Yes. Okay. We are going to be doing advances to that in the next version of Commerce Server, not the current Feature Pack 1. But we will be having features around bulk edit. We're starting primarily at the API level. So we get all the bulk edit APIs in place. And it's a question of how much can I bake in going above that. That's still an open question. But we'll have the APIs there for you. No, 32 and 64-bit. Current plans are Windows 2000, 2003. SQL Yukon and SQL 2000. So we're not going to. The only place we're going to add a little migrated pane is the .NET framework. All right, the rest you'll be okay with your platforms. Yes, sir.
One thing I had to add is with the exposure to BizTalk. BizTalk would be another great way to handle it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we try to. That's the one of the themes I was trying to bring out, and then the next version is really focusing around connected commerce, and you got to think about it from all angles, both from the business user, the developer, the environment itself, the end customer. We're trying to hit as many of those points as we can so that you can have that flexibility. Because it's obvious, I have a list of features, 400, 500 items long, my wish list, right? I can't obviously do all of those, right? And so we have to pick the ones that will give you the flexibility to be able to fill in the gaps when you need to. Right? So that's what we're trying to do with connected commerce. Yes, sir.
Is there any plans to integrate MIIS with your product for provisioning account?
You want to take that one?
Not at this time. That's something we're looking at down the road more so in the Longhorn type time frame, but there's no specific plans around that right now. Yes, through the SAP, one of the several SAP adapters that are available for BizTalk. So the experience would be you've got our adapter connected into your BizTalk hub, you've got your SAP adapter connected into your BizTalk hub. You then just go into the orchestration designer and create a new orchestration to make your Commerce Server talk to SAP for both inbound and outbound data.
Yep. Yes, sir.
What was the idea of Jupyter, like having, Commerce Server, content management system, and BizTalk as kind of a more integrated, solution? Is that a part of the plan?
Well, Jupyter itself, the vision of Jupyter didn't go away. The concept of Jupyter being one packaged product just didn't fly well with the majority of customers. Right? Personally, I enjoyed the idea and the concept because it gave a lot of flexibility from an integration standpoint and other things. But customers said, no, that's we pulled a lot. I mean, we spent months talking to a lot of them. The bundling concept just did not completely pull together. So the way we're approaching it is through the Windows Server System concept. As I was saying, that's not just a brand earlier. It's a concept of integration and consistency across the product. It's going to take us a little while to get everything synced up, right? But the Jupyter vision becomes even broader than content management, commerce, and BizTalk. Right? It becomes across all of Microsoft's servers. And so, as you'll see, you'll hear more about the Windows Server System here at TechEd. I believe the keynote tomorrow is going to have some important data around that. There'll also be some more going forward, and we're going to continue to advance that, and each product that comes out will continue to work down that line, thus bringing the Jupyter vision to all the products rather than just 3.
There's also a specific tech talk on the Windows Server System and the
That's
breakout
right.
sessions that Robert Barnes is presenting, which I'd also highly encourage you to attend.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Is there any plans to do anything around search or any relevant search for Commerce Server, or if you can utilize any other search technology?
Well, is there a search session this week?
I think SharePoint's got several.
Okay, that would be the place to get the search. The search roadmap for Microsoft is handled through the SharePoint Portal Services technology. We, like through MSIB, we integrated with that, with the SharePoint search. Our search is focused mostly around product and catalog search, right? we'll continue to integrate with them as they continue to advance their search, but I wouldn't want to stand here and speak to their roadmap and plans.
In addition, we'll still be cultivating our niche ISV search relationships, such as MondoSoft as well, too.
Yeah.
There are going after very specific catalog search scenarios.
Yes, sir.
You guys' website, practices and habits website, there's a thing called the UIP, user interface process, the model folder presentation there. I'm wondering if you guys are going to ship a sample of that sitting on top of conference server.
There's no plans for that at this point, but we'll certainly take that down as feedback for consideration.
Yeah, take a look at that. All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Well, thanks so much for coming today. Really appreciate it. Try and make Ryan's session this afternoon. If you're actively working on a commerce site, you're going to want to hear what he's got to say. Download Feature Pack 1, please. I want to hear from you. All right? Thank you.
Thank you very much.